Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. A throne transported across a continent in less than a blink of an eye. A letter delivered by a bird that changed the direction of a kingdom. A king who understood the language of ants. And the most powerful ruler who ever lived, who died leaning on his staff and nobody knew for days. This is the story of Suleiman alayhi salam, son of a prophet, king by the command of Allah, and one of the most extraordinary human beings who ever walked this earth. Let's go. His name means peace in Hebrew, a man of peace, a man of wholeness. He was the son of Dawood alayhi salam, who was himself both prophet and king. But Suleiman alayhi salam did not inherit his position because of his father. The prophets leave no worldly inheritance. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "We do not bequeath, and whatever we leave is charity." Suleiman alayhi salam became king and prophet by the direct appointment of Allah, and he was chosen young. Even before he took the throne, his judgment was already extraordinary. His father Dawood alayhi salam was settling a dispute between two men. One owned a flock of sheep, the other had a field of crops. The sheep had gotten in and destroyed the harvest. Dawood alayhi salam ruled on the case. The young Suleiman alayhi salam, listening from the side, said, "There is a better solution. Let the owner of the sheep give the flock to the farmer. The wool and the milk and the lambs will compensate him until the field is fully restored. Then the flock returns to its owner. Fair to both sides. No loss discarded, no punishment beyond what was just." This was who he was before he had any power at all. When he became king, he made 3 requests of Allah. He asked for judgment that would never contradict Allah's own laws. He asked for wealth unlike anything given to any person before him or after him. And he asked that anyone who came to worship at the house he would build would have their sins forgiven. Allah granted the first 2 immediately. The third, scholars say, became part of the inheritance of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Because when someone performs Hajj and Allah accepts it, the Prophet said they return as clean as the day their mother bore them. All sins erased. That gift, tracing back through the ages, connects to the prayer of Suleiman alayhi salam. Now, what exactly did Allah give him? Everything. He spoke every language on earth, not as a scholar who studied. It was given to him. He understood the language of animals. He commanded the wind, which carried him where he needed to go. The jinn, powerful beings of fire, were under his authority and built for him what no human labor could construct. Animals obeyed his orders. Even the birds answered to him with reports from across the world. He loved horses deeply. He was known for his magnificent winged horses. Some early narrations claim he once slaughtered his horses, thinking they distracted him from worship. Scholars reject this. They say, even an ordinary decent person would not harm an animal entrusted to them without clear justification. How could a prophet of Allah do so unjustly? The story is a fabrication. Now comes the episode that the Quran tells in extraordinary detail. Suleiman alayhi salam held regular assemblies. Every kind of creature under his authority reported to him. Jinn, humans, animals, birds. He would listen to what was happening across the world. And one day, a bird was late. The bird was called the hudhud, the hoopoe. It was specifically tasked with flying reconnaissance over the earth and reporting back. On this particular day, it did not appear. Suleiman alayhi salam was displeased. He said, and the Quran records his words directly. If you do not have a convincing excuse, I will punish you severely. The hudhud arrived, and its excuse was this: I have found something you do not know about. There is a people, an entire nation, worshipping the sun instead of Allah. Their queen is extraordinary, her throne is magnificent, and her people have been given everything, and yet they bow before the wrong thing. Suleiman alayhi salam did not immediately believe the bird. He said, "We will see whether you are telling the truth." He was, because Allah then confirmed it, an entire kingdom in what is now Yemen, the land of Saba, the kingdom of Sheba, living in polytheism. Suleiman alayhi salam did not send an army. He wrote a letter. The letter said, "It is from Suleiman, and it is in the name of Allah, the most gracious, the most merciful. Do not be arrogant before me. Come to me in submission." He gave it to the hudhud and told the bird, "Drop it into their palace and wait." The queen's name was Bilqis. She was the daughter of a beloved king who had no sons. When he died, the people loved him so much they made his daughter their ruler. She was described as just, beautiful, wise, and shrewd. When the letter arrived, she called her council together and read it to them. Her advisors, showing the usual bravado of people who have never met real power, said, "We have a strong army. We could fight." But she overruled them. She said, "When kings enter a land by force, they destroy it and humiliate its noblest people." And she decided, "First, let us test him." They sent a delegation with enormous gifts, gold, treasures, a diplomatic offering to see whether he wanted wealth or something else. When the gifts arrived, Suleiman alayhi salam looked at them and said, "Do you think you can distract me with what the world offers? What Allah has given me is greater than anything you have brought. Go back. Tell her, come yourself." The gifts were returned. And Bilqis set out on the journey. Now, Suleiman alayhi salam was in Palestine. Bilqis was traveling from Yemen. A journey of months. And Suleiman alayhi salam turned to his assembly and asked, "Who can bring me her throne before she arrives?" He did not want to conquer her. He wanted to call her to Allah. And he wanted to do it in a way that would reach her, by showing her the kind of power that no earthly ruler possesses. The Ifrits, the most powerful and swift among the jinn, spoke first. And Ifrit said, "I can bring it to you before you rise from your seat." Suleiman alayhi salam had not yet responded when another voice spoke. This one was from among the humans. He said, "I will bring it to you in less than the blink of an eye." And he did. Before Suleiman alayhi salam could close and reopen his eyes, the throne of Bilqis, physically transported from Yemen to Palestine, was standing in front of him. Scholars note this. A human being, one of the close servants of Allah, was given something that even the fastest jinn could not match. Allah places no ceiling on what he can give to a human being who is near to him. Then Suleiman alayhi salam ordered, "Change the throne slightly, alter some details, and when she arrives, let us see if she recognizes it." He also gave one more instruction: build a palace of glass over water, and place her throne inside it. Bilqis arrived after months of travel. She was shown into the palace. She walked forward and slightly lifted her hem, because she thought she was walking into water. She was shocked it was not water. It was polished glass, beneath which water actually flowed. The illusion was so perfect that she could not tell the difference. She looked across the floor of this palace and saw a throne. She said carefully, "It seems as if this is like my throne. Not, this is my throne. Not, this is impossible. Just, it seems like it." Scholars praise this. She did not claim certainty without information, and she did not deny what was in front of her eyes. She suspended judgment until she understood more. Suleiman alayhi salam explained to her what she was seeing. The power behind it, the source of it, the God who made all of it possible. And Bilqis accepted Islam. She left polytheism behind. She embraced the one who had sent her a letter by a bird and moved her throne across a continent in the time it takes to blink. Some narrations say Suleiman alayhi salam later married her. Some say descendants came from that union. Allah knows best what is accurate. Now for the most quietly profound part of his story. Suleiman alayhi salam had commanded the jinn to build the great temple, the house of worship of Allah, in Jerusalem, the Masjid al-Aqsa. The jinn feared him. They worked with complete dedication because they believed he watched them constantly. And one day, Suleiman alayhi salam died. He was standing, leaning on a salam, died. He was standing, leaning on his staff, as he often did while overseeing the work. He died in that position, upright, silent. Eyes open, perhaps, still, apparently watching. And the jinn kept building. They did not know. No one knew. They continued their enormous labor under the belief that the king was watching, until a termite, quietly and without drama, ate through the staff he was leaning on. The staff gave way. Suleiman alayhi salam fell. Only then did the jinn realize he had been dead. And the Quran mentions this moment specifically as a lesson. It made clear to the jinn that if they had known the unseen, they would not have remained in humiliating labor. They had never known what was hidden. They only believed they did. This is the single most important truth about those who claim knowledge of the unseen. The jinn, creatures of extraordinary speed and power, did not know that the man standing above them was already gone. Only Allah knows what is hidden. Suleiman alayhi salam is estimated to have lived either 57 or 120 years. Scholars differ. His full family, the number of his children who came after him. The authentic record is sparse. Allah knows best. What we know is this. He was given everything a human being can be given on this earth. Every language, every creature. Wind and jinn and birds that carried his letters. A kingdom that covered the entire known world. A throne that moved across continents, and he used all of it for one purpose, to call people back to the one who gave it. He never used power to enrich himself beyond what was right. He did not send armies where a letter could speak. He never confused the gift for the giver. And when he died, he was standing at his post, staff in hand, still working. May Allah make us among those who use what they are given for the right purposes, among those who recognize power as trust and not possession, and among those who, like Suleiman alayhi salam, ask not just for what the world offers, but for what pleases the one who owns it all. Ameen wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu.